Well, welcome to Coaching for Peak Performance, techniques sales leaders can take from sports coaches. Today, I'm with Sacramento Kings coach Jordie Fernández. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I got to ask before we get started, can I call you coach?
Of course.
All right, that's cool.
You can call me Jordie. You can call me coach, whatever you want.
I'm going to go with coach because it feels cooler to me. Sorry. So to kick things off, I want to talk about game plans a little bit. And I want to take you back to, I think it was December of last year. You guys are down by 4 in the third in Toronto. Coach Brown gets ejected for what looked like protecting the team from what's becoming a pretty physical game. You step in, bring the team to a win from behind victory. What does it take as a coach to be able to pivot in a moment like that and still bring the team back and win the game?
If you watch that game or those minutes that I had to take over, I think is the definition of everybody stepping in outside their role and try to do whatever it takes, to help win. And I think the first one to do it were the players, like you said. I think coach did a great job fighting for the guys, and the guys responded. On my end, I think that I just tried to remain calm because in those moments, I think that's the best thing you can do is to give them confidence and keep them, as relaxed and aggressive as they can be at the same time. Because we were down, like you said, double digits, and we had to push really hard to get the win. And I think we all did. The coaches were amazing. Everybody helped, and we came out with a win. So it was an amazing experience.
I love what you said about staying calm. Just like slowing things down and staying calm is such a big thing to help make every decision easier. I'm curious, in your experience, what are some of the mistakes novice coaches make then? So if you're in that moment, what's something that you can easily do wrong that a little thing could go a long way?
Yeah, I think it's human nature to try to go for the home run, right? Like your coaches got ejected. You feel like things are not fair. But the reality is, it is what it is, right? You're facing a situation, and there's nothing you can do in one play right away. Because if you try to go for that home run, it can go against you. And I think what we did was one play at a time, one possession at a time, like you said, remaining calm and not losing our minds and just playing together. Just defending together, scoring together. And I think that's what really helped us.
Okay. So then when we're thinking about game plans in general, I'm curious, who are some of the more unorthodox coaches you worked with who had some different game plans, and why was what they did so different?
I think for me, it's been more based on different competitions. I've been lucky to be part of an Olympic team with the Nigerian national team in Tokyo. I've been lucky to be part of a World Cup team with the Spanish national team, a Eurobasket team with a Spanish national team in Turkey, in the NBA with Cleveland, in Denver, now here in Sacramento. So the best thing I've learned from all the coaches that I've worked with, because at the end of the day, you build yourself as a coach when you learn from others. Basically, what you're doing is copying what you think you like, and then you're applying it in other situations that you think that may work, and then you make it your own, right? Like I think that the strategy of copying, and then if you can apply at the right time at the right moment, that's how you become who you are, right? So I've been, like I said, very fortunate to work with all these coaches, all these different teams, but also different competitions. And they put you in different situations, sometimes winning, losing, which that's not the real, like the end result to me doesn't always matter. It's how you do it and how you compete and how you give yourself a chance. At the end of the day, that's how you're going to be. If you compete every single game, you're going to be more around winning than losing, and vice versa.
I love that perspective. I tell people all the time, everything I say, I've stolen from somebody else. I heard somebody else say it and I thought it was good. I saw somebody else do it and I thought it was good. And that's just, like you said, turned me into kind of the seller and the business person I've become. That's really cool. But what are those things that make Jordie different? Like, you've learned from other coaches, but you've implemented the things you like and left the things you didn't. What are the things that are uniquely you about coaching?
I think something that my dad always said is it's more important to know what not to do than what to do sometimes, right? And when you have played and you've coached and you've seen things that you do that you didn't like for whatever reason, that to me sometimes just really stands out, because that's not how you want to feel. That's not how you want to make people feel. And I think in our end, we're coaches, we're teachers, and like the way to get to people and to get to teaching how to do something and accomplish something, that is extremely important. How to reach to that person, how to get them excited, motivated, and I think like that, what not to do sometimes is more important than what to do.
And did you pull that from any coach specifically, or what coach have you worked with in the past that influenced you the most?
I could give you like a lot of names from me being a little kid and being a basketball player, or older, played at the level that I played growing up in Europe, to when I started coaching. Like I said before, you learn from these other coaches, and you want to be, similar to who they are, and that's their excitement as a young coach. And then, when I was lucky enough to be in a professional level in the NBA, obviously there's been like a lot of coaching staffs that I've been part of, and you keep learning from not just the head coaches, but from top to bottom. I think that it's important to establish relationships with everybody, not just the main people, not just the top boss, but almost with these relationships, you can learn from everybody. And like this way, that tomorrow you'll be super rich if you just get all these experiences with all these different people. Sometimes people just focuses on the head coach, and it's good. Like head coaches usually are the guys that lead the project, and they have the the final answer, or make the decisions. But at the end of the day, they have a big group of people working for him. So if you can build all those relationships, I think you become a way better coach.
So that's got me thinking about something you said a little bit earlier about that Toronto game where the players really stepped up. When you think about assessing the individual needs of each player, you've coached some of the best in the game, people like LeBron and Shaq. What does it take to work with those elite players? And what's your advice for our coaches on how they can coach their A players to be even better?
I think coaching is a two-way street, right? You have to talk and you have to listen. That's number one. Not everybody learns the same way. To find a way to get everybody's attention and establish those channels of communication, that's extremely important. And creating that trust, I've learned that that's what matters most. Like you said, I've been lucky to be around guys like LeBron and Shaq, which I did not coach them. I basically just learned from them. Nikola Jokic, right now, De'Aaron Fox, Domas, all these guys, they teach you so much as a coach. And then once you establish those relationships and you can figure out the way to communicate with them, you can imagine these guys are always in the public eye, and everybody wants. So if if they can trust you, then you can easily get to them. They know you can help them or remain, or just help them be calm and in certain moments. That's sometimes very valuable, is just to slow down, look at things in a different way. And sometimes, that the answer is right in front of you. You just gotta refocus for a second and execute in their case.
I love that you keep mentioning slowing down. I've had a sticky note on my monitor over here that said slow down for the last 5 years. It's just my biggest mantra is slow everything down. When you're thinking about like that player coach, you said you learned a lot from some of those A players. How do you identify some of those player coaches and and what's their role in the organization?
You mean the players that stand out over everybody else?
Yeah, that are good at mentoring and coaching up other younger players.
Well, usually that comes with experience and a little bit with personality. I think that you can be leader in a different ways, right? Like you can, as a player, you can be a vocal leader, and usually vocal leaders too lead by example, because you cannot be the guy telling everybody what to do, but you don't, you know, preach with
Yeah.
what you
Do as
say.
I say, not as I do kind of thing.
Correct. Which that happens at times, and you have to like readjust and regulate, and you don't want that voice to be that loud if a player is going to be somebody that says but doesn't do. And then there's all the type of guys that they don't say much, but they lead by example. They're always there. They always do the right thing. They're always in the right spot. They always play really hard. So, those are extremely important for us, because not every team functions the same way. Not every team has the same pieces. And sometimes as a coach, you have to step up and lead the group. And sometimes when you have natural leaders on the group, you have to let them, like do it themselves and establish certain roles themselves. But I think that it's important for us as coaches that we're the ones that deal with all the logistics, day-to-day logistics, is to identify and then readjust if we have to.
Yeah, and you've gotten to coach in a lot of places. When you get somewhere new, like what are you looking for in people? Like that first day when you walk in the locker room, what are you looking for to assess? Is this person on my side? Is this person a good mentor for other people?
Yeah, I think that like in our in our world, which I think is like very similar um, to any type of job, is it's very important to not just to know one person, but to see how the picture of the whole team, right? Because in a basketball team, you need somebody that scores, somebody that rebounds, somebody that plays minutes, somebody that doesn't play minutes, somebody that cheers on the bench, somebody that's going to be on the court. So it is very important. Like not everybody can be LeBron James, not everybody can be De'Aaron Fox. We all want to get better. We all have personal goals, but obviously, if we have a team first mentality and we all accept the roles that are going to make the group better, then we all be able to perform at a higher level as a team. Can the roles change? Of course. Like with roles, you can deny your role, accept your role, or you can embrace your role. And I think that if you embrace your role, then that role can change and you can have a bigger role. And that's that thing. I think that's part of growing. It's part of growth, especially with younger players. So I think it's very important that you get to know everybody on your team, to build those relationships. Or sometimes people, by relationships, they think about personal relationships. And I think that having the willingness to get to know somebody in a professional way, it's very important. Because when you spend time together and you work together, when things get tough, that's how you can get through those moments together. And just like a basketball game, if you've worked out through the summer with somebody, and that doesn't mean that you're friends and you go out and you go to dinner. That means that you just on the court with that person and you spend a lot of time and you talk to that person and you talk about work. And then when you lose a game or when you're in a tough moment in a game, it's easier to go through it together and be successful and don't get into a negative, like get negative, which sometimes it happens. So I believe into that, building chemistry through building those or creating team chemistry through building those relationships. I think it's extremely important.
And you mentioned we all want to get better. I think that's so true in every role, in every industry. Everyone wants to be better than they were yesterday. If someone is a inconsistent performer, is getting to know them part of that, like identifying how to help them be better? What do you do to help coach people who maybe are less consistent?
That's a good question, and I think there's a lot of answers to that. Because the number one thing is for that person to realize and accept that their performance goes up and down. A lot of times, players, or if you work with somebody, they're not going to tell you that they're inconsistent. So that's the number one problem, right? But if you can find a way to to make them understand that you cannot have this unbelievable performance one day and then go unnoticed the next day, because once they can see that, they can accept that, then they can open their eyes and they can let you help them. So accepting is first, realizing, and then there's 1,000 ways for us as coaches to help that person, whether it is on offense, defense, or sometimes it's more cognitive, read, react, and understand, and sometimes it's like just mechanics and technique that you can help somebody with. So and
Yeah.
sometimes the number one step is accepting it.
So on that thread, I want to pivot you a little bit. Dr. J, probably the most famous doctor in sports, but you have a PhD yourself in sports psychology. How does that player mindset and some of that emotional intelligence stuff play into coaching and helping people improve?
Well, I published 2 articles. I went through all my PhD classes, so on and so forth. I'm not done yet, so I'm 1 article away from having a PhD. But that was a really cool part of my education. Hopefully, I can get it done at some point. When I came to the U.S., that got on hold for a little bit, and I'm still, with all what I've done in the summers with the national team, and then having kids, it almost feels like it's always the next thing to do. But for sure, that part of my education was very special and really cool, because I really enjoyed it. It was my PhD is in sports psychology, like you said. Obviously, not a psychologist, but the field that I worked on was observation of human behavior, and specifically in team sports. So basically, it's all this analytics trend that we can see nowadays in sports, but based on behaviors that you can see in team sports, right? So it, to me, was very interesting, because you can find answers to what teams do collectively through patterns of conduct. So that was great for me to see the sport of basketball in a different way, in a different angle. And like I said before, sometimes you just gotta step out and see something from a different perspective, and sometimes it just reinforces what you thought it was, and sometimes it just gives you a complete different answer. And I thought it was really cool, and it's something that I've used I've used for sure in the NBA, used previously, and I kept modifying, and something that I'm still excited about when moving forward, like I said, to finish it.
That's really cool. I don't want you to spill your special sauce and tell your secrets away, but is there anything our coaches watching this can do when they're looking at competing against another team in business, maybe to analyze them a little better?
Yeah, I mean, obviously every field is different, right? But I think that being creative is always something that gets people attention. And when you do drills that sometimes you think that this is going to be crazy, you always have to think, is this going to catch their attention? Because attention spans are always challenging. Obviously, in every job is a little bit different, but our players, to watch film, to stand still and listen, their attention span goes from 5 to 15 minutes. And when you're working with groups like of an age between 18 to 35, they're about to practice. And so we know what we're working with. And sometimes you have to find that way to, especially in today's world, right? Social media, kids that were born in the 2000s and millennials, right? They're called millennials.
Yeah, I'll go with that. There's Gen X, there's Gen Z. I don't know which one I'm in, but I'm in one of those.
Yeah, I was born in 82 and I don't have social media. So, but the reality is that you have to connect with everybody, right? If your job is to coach, it doesn't matter like when were you born or how you live your life, but the reality is you still have to connect with people and be interested and and how they do things and understand, right? So I think that going back to your question is being creative in ways that can catch their attention. I think is extremely important, being creative, because maybe your way is the best, but the way that is perceived is not. So getting, all that stimulation behind, I think that it's always just going to help you as a coach. Just if you sometimes just talk for too long, you're just going to lose them, right? So different voices, different ways, visual learners, people that learn through, walking through stuff or watching it. So you have to be aware of all that and always trying to find a new and different way to do it.
So I'm thinking about, how do you get creative when people aren't in front of you? Like in our world, so much time is spent prepping for a deal or a customer interaction, just like you're spent so much time prepping for a game. But you have off seasons, right? You're not in front of these players every single day. How do you get people to focus on some of that preparation and planning when they're not right in front of you?
It's a good question, but I think that like self-discipline is extremely important when you have to work on your computer and be at home, and like the small wins and winning the day, and give yourself short-term or mid-term goals. I think that the long-term goals sometimes they just get lost sometimes, and you got to wait too long. And I think that if you can structure yourself and short-term goals, mid-term goals, when you see that they're like right in front of you, it's where part of your motivation is, to keep climbing. And you feel one thing is getting better, and the other one is having awareness of it. And I think that when you're aware that you're getting better, it's what helps you, come the next day. And even if you're work from home in your own place, like you're excited for that new day. Sometimes I just can't imagine, because I haven't done it enough compared to probably what you guys do, but I'm pretty sure that working on that self motivation and discipline is got to be a big part of it.
Yeah, I at least think at your level, right, at the professional level, you guys got to be so disciplined and so motivated. Is it hard sometimes just wake up some days and you're like, man, today's not my day? Or every day are you just ready to go and coach basketball?
I don't think I have bad days, maybe one or two a year. So out of 365, I don't think I have more than 2 or 3 bad days. And one of the reasons, I think, it's because I decide not to. So, I work in professional sports. I worked in the NBA. This is like, it really makes me happy. So I think it would be easy to wake up and say, yeah, I miss my kids, or I haven't had a day off in so many days, or we're traveling again, or we lost a game, or whatever the case may be. And you wake up and you're like, oh, today's gonna be a tough day. But I've always, for a long time now, I like to wake up and show up to work and tell everybody that today's gonna be a great day. And guess what? Maybe it's not going to be a great day, but If it's not, it's because of things that you cannot control. And at least whatever it is that you can control, that it's, under anything that you can do, that really helps, because sometimes you don't need to, like, in my case, I really love my job, but I do understand that some people, they just decide to do other jobs for other reasons. You just got to be committed with that. And once you make a decision, you just got to go with it. It's always easier when it's a great day. And you just got to keep telling it to yourself.
I heard a podcast recently and they talked about, did you have a bad day or did you have a bad hour that you let ruin your whole day? So I love that you're on that same kind of mindset. It's going to be a good day. I know we're coming close to time. I got a couple more things I want to ask for our followers. The first one is there any books you recommend for some of our coaches that want to get better?
To be honest with you, not at this moment. So obviously I like to read and watch things that are about what I do, but that it's overwhelming. What I usually do is sometimes like watch a lot of things that have almost, you would say, nothing in common. And sometimes I just find a connection with it.
That's how you get creative.
So, I don't know, the other day I watched a documentary about history. I'm pretty big into music, so I watch like, I don't know if you call biography, like documentaries, like live of people that, like musicians and certain musicians' careers and stuff like that.
Okay, let's go to, what's your go-to get pumped up song? You're driving to a game. What's on the radio in the car?
So I love music. I could show you right now, but I have a record collection. So, one of my main things is if you come to my house, there's enough variety for you to choose to find one thing that you'll like. So there's not just one style of music that I like. I think the diversity and variety is where you can find, like something really cool. Because to me, every day is a different day, and you can find a different song. One song that I really like, and it's not just really like a pump up, like it's one of my favorite songs is Master Plan by Oasis, where, basically says that, life is a master plan. The lyrics are pretty good. And to me, obviously, everybody remembers Wonderwall, but Master Plan is one of my favorite songs by Oasis.
All right. Well, to wrap us up, I have one crazy question for you. So let's pretend that I'm on a reality TV show where I have to coach a pro team for one game. And if the team wins, I get $1 million. The catch to this is I can ask one pro coach for one pro tip. What's your one tip you would give to a total amateur on how to be a good coach?
Be yourself, because players are very smart, and if you're not, they're gonna find out very quick. So honesty, I think, is the number one thing. If you go into coaching, for instance, and you say, listen, I don't know much about basketball, but I'm going to coach you guys and I want you to do your best. And so if they're comfortable with that, you're not trying to sell something that you're not, I think that would be your best shot at supporting and getting the best performance and competition out of those guys. Just be you.
Awesome. Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. It was awesome chatting with you. And if you guys want to connect with Coach Jordie, you can check him out at the Sacramento Kings games. He says he's not a big social media guy, so don't follow him on social media unless you want to shout out your socials.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.